you got drafted in the MLB draft. I know that was a really big goal for you.
Yeah.
But your decision to come back, I know it kind of depended on which team drafted you. I know you kind of had to let teams know that was something you'd be interested in doing.
Yeah.
But just kind of how did it all go down?
Yeah, it's honestly the decision's a little bigger than me. I'm from here. I bleed green and yellow, and obviously I want to play professional baseball. That's something that's in my future, but I knew that I only have once in a lifetime opportunity here at Oregon to play football, especially joining the Big Ten and the squad we got this year. I was super pumped to be a part of that. So ultimately, that's kind of what came into play. I just wanted to come back and play for my city one more time.
And so, did you let the Astros kind of know that was something you wanted, and then they said yes, or did you know ahead of time?
Yeah, that was something my agent and I talked about, and he let him know pre-draft process, and a couple teams obviously passed up on that, but they were welcome to the idea and asked whenever they're in town if they could get some tickets. So they were pumped for the idea. So I'm glad they took me.
What's the biggest difference for you being in baseball shape versus being in football shape?
Baseball shape, I obviously dropped 5-6 pounds and a little leaner and obviously more rotationally fluid. I would say a little more flexible than football. Obviously, you're pumping weights. I got to put my weight up, get stronger. But in those two regards, probably those are the two best answers for that.
Where are you at in that transformation right now?
I'd say I'm at my peak. I'm right around 220 and back into football shape going into camp, so I feel good. That transition was definitely quick. I didn't have as much time as the past couple of years, just with the draft and the combine and whatnot. But yeah, I'm ready to roll. I'm excited.
Did you ever take a second and just look back at your journey here? It's like truly remarkable. So did you ever just think about coming in as freshman year and where you are now?
I do. I was actually sitting down eating breakfast with my mom the other day, and she was telling me, hey man, you got to take a second and just look back to where you've came, double walk on, earning a scholarship in 2 sports, and what you've been able to accomplish is pretty incredible. I obviously like to smell the roses, but I'm always on to the next thing in my life. I like to keep my head down and work hard and try to keep accomplishing things, but it was nice for her to say that to me, and yeah, I've started to recognize it now. It's my last year here.
Is that hard to do, just given that you go from football to preparing for baseball and then obviously the draft? Like, you haven't had a whole lot of time to kind of sit down and think about what's happening. Is it hard to kind of reflect on what you've been able to do here?
Yeah, you always, like I said, you want to keep your head down and keep working and look towards what's next, because that's what that's how future accomplishments happen. But like you said, the past year or so, especially with my last year of baseball and this year my last fall camp, I've definitely started to take time to reminisce on all the past years and all the greatness that's a part of this place. So it's been awesome.
With your role on the baseball team kind of being bigger this season, you didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with the football guys. Now that you're kind of back here, you've been training with them this summer. Just what has that been like to come back to a team after having so much success?
Yeah, honestly, I've been, now to say the least, I've been itching for some contact, because last couple of years I've done spring ball, but this year I didn't, obviously. So yeah, I'm super excited. Obviously, I saw some of the dudes getting in the weight room in the spring and whatnot, but not putting the pads on. So I'm itching to get into fall camp, especially being around all the guys and the energy. But to put the pads on one last time, I'm excited.
This is pretty obvious, but I mean, just what would it mean for you to bring a national championship back here?
It's the reason I came back. That's what we have our sights set on, is and nothing less. It would obviously mean the world to me. I'd obviously probably would have to take a couple weeks to get back into baseball mode. When you guys say stop and smell the roses, that's when I'll definitely stop and look back on everything we accomplished. But yeah, it's what I'm back for.
Go ahead.
What's it like for you growing up here, playing in Pac-12 in various sports, and now moving football to at least for you, Big Ten? How much different is that? What are your feelings about that?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Obviously, I grew up a Pac-12 guy, being from here and watching all the teams play and being a part of it. So I was sad to see the conference go. But at the same time, there's obviously a reason for it. And, those reasons are I guess, good. So honestly, I'm excited for the transition. I can't wait to play those games at home and those new opponents on the road and get, change of scenery. So I'm looking forward to it.
Coach Landon quickly talked about his relationship with Coach Waz. Do you see any similar traits between the two of them as coaches?
Oh yeah, they're different people, no doubt. They all both have their different quirks, but they are very similar. They're both very intense, care about their players and are about the right things, which is very important, especially in today's age. Are able to make that transition between being hard-nosed and intense and kind of old school, but also being able to adapt their players and being new school in that regard. They're good at being able to, complement each other and make those two transitions, which is important.
I think Coach Lanning probably would have supported you whether you decided to come back or whether you decided to kind of pursue that MLB career solely this season. But when you did decide and know that you wanted to come back, what was his reaction to that conversation?
Yeah, he was obviously pumped. We were talking pre-draft process about kind of, where I got, drafted and where I was supposed to get drafted, and kind of, when it comes to coming back, obviously that he wanted me to come back. So when I told him that it was a sure deal that I'm coming back, he was obviously pumped. So yeah, it was great.
And you told me that spots were not one in the spring; they're one in the summer.
Yep.
Now, so just kind of what are your expectations for this season for yourself, and how excited are you for that competition and depth in your position?
Yeah, I'm pumped. Like I said, they are one in the fall in camp. I've known, since I've been playing 2 sports at Oregon, every time I come into a new season, it's a new year. It really doesn't matter what you do in the past. And obviously I'm down on the depth chart. I'm not a 1 right now in football, and I wasn't a 1 in baseball to start the year. And every year it's been like that. So I always have a chip on my shoulder and I always have something to prove. And that's honestly where I'm most comfortable, when I, have something to prove. So I'm pumped to show everyone that I am going to be that one, and I'm excited to get the season rolling.
When you had to split spring the way you did, Bryce,
Yeah.
how much, I guess it's hard to answer this, but how, I want to say behind, but how impacted do you feel you were in football, where you put in the meeting room time and you weren't on the field? So surely being on the field has value.
Yeah.
How not up to where the other guys are, or do you feel like you were able to kind of mitigate that?
Yeah, no, I'd say obviously not being on the field in the spring has an impact, but given where I've been at in the program, and it's just looking at the playbook and knowing X's and O's at the end of the day and just staying fresh in that regard. I feel like football is a sport, and I can attest to it. I didn't play for 2 years and came out. It's a sport that you either have it or you don't. Whereas baseball, obviously, you have to stay out there and swing in and stay in shape. But like I said, football is an instinctual sport, so I feel like I'm not behind in any regard. And I kept my mind sharp, staying in my playbook throughout the spring. So I'm ready to roll.
As a teaching guy, I realized the move to the Big Ten's been a year in the making, so everybody knew this. But formally speaking, it's Friday. Yes, the logo's literally behind you right now, but officially.
Yeah.
So, what does this mean? Did you get to play in the first year of it, and at this university that you grew up seeing is now that this is reality?
Mm-hmm. I was saying it's obviously, I miss the Pac-12. It's what I grew up watching, grew up playing in. But obviously, all you can bet on in life is change, and change is inevitable. So I'm excited for what the Big Ten's going to bring to the table. I could obviously get to go to some pretty cool venues and have some good teams come to play at Autzen Stadium, which should be fun. So I'm just pumped to be a part of it.
How does, as guys, you spend a lot of time with Boss, how do you see him able to kind of marry style and substance? That on the field he's the linebacker that he is, but that he can dress the way he does, that when he goes on the road he's renting Lamborghinis, that he's working out at a LA gym where Taylor Swift goes.
Yeah.
He can spend the money and do all that, but he can still be a guy who's one of the leading tacklers on a Big Ten football team and be the guy that he is on the field.
He's got his own personality, and at the end of the day, you got to be authentic to yourself. And if that's him being authentic, it's going to help him be the best player and best person off the field. So that's him, and that's what he does. And I think if you stay true to yourself, that's what's going to happen on the field.
When you came back to the team, who was the teammate or coach that you kind of missed the most seeing every day?
Man, that's a tough one. I miss a lot of my guys out here, but probably Connor Soley. That dude and I have developed a pretty good relationship over the past couple of years, and his locker's right next to mine. So getting to see him again after a couple months off from baseball was good.
Sorry if someone already asked you this, but where were you when you got the call that you got drafted? Were you at home?
Yeah,
watching TV?
I was actually up here. I was lifting with the football team. We had a team run, and we had a lift, and so I was getting the lift in, and I got a call from agent. He's like, "Hey, X, Y, and Z. I think the Royals or the Astros are going to take us. You might want to get in the spot where you can turn the TV on." So I had ended lift early. Told Coach Porter, he's like, "Yeah, get out of here. Go be with your family." So I hopped in the car. I was with my girlfriend, and as we were getting into the living room, my agent called me and was like, "Yeah, the Astros are going to take you in about 5 minutes, so get ready." One more.
What was that feeling? If you can, put it into words. You knew it was probably coming, but what was it like when that finally happened for you?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It's a great feeling, all your hard work coming into fruition, especially where I was at this year. My last year in baseball, obviously I wanted to get drafted, but I had no expectations. I was going in trying to help the team win, and good things came of it, and I was pumped to see my name called. But it's just the beginning. Still got a long road ahead to put in that work and get to the big leagues and become a Hall of Famer. So that's just the beginning.